Hello, everybody. If this doesn't prove what I was saying yesterday about Agita actually loving, sort of, at least accepting her baby brothers, I don't know what does. Look at that. It's less than a foot. Less than a foot. Oh no. Oh, it's almost bringing me back to the deer stage. This is absolutely. I never thought I would see this, and for an extended period of time. Isn't that good? Now, during the night, when I first went to bed, Agita came and settled there on that bed thing, and the babies were playing. They were running around, and, which I was quite happy with because they need exercise, And I'm cutting down their wet food a little bit, I'm still giving it to them, but much smaller amounts. And then, at one point, Agita, she got up and she went and settled on her perch there. And the babies both came and cuddled here and settled next to me, and I petted them, and then one settled by my feet, one was next to me, and I think it was Finn. Finn is the cuddlier one of the two. So Finn was, and I think this is Finn. And Finn was next to me, and I had my hand on him while I was sleeping. And then during the night, maybe it's, something. I see some white hair there. That could very well be, I'll see. So anyway, during the night, both the kids were next to me, and then one was by my feet. And then in the morning, I think Agita came and settled. And a little while later, I see this, and this has been like half an hour, and this is the next level of our family togetherness. It's it's absolutely amazing. I'm pretty much speechless. Anyway, bye for now. Or what to you guys. Bye for now. Okay, after I said all of that, Elsie got it from here and started, sort of sat a little, moved in that direction. And Agita did try to hit him. Just a symbolic hit, just like that. But no growling, no hissing, and not getting up. She's still settled there. And I think it's Elsie. Elsie is within a 2-foot radius. This is, for the social distancing queen, and no growling, no hissing, and not getting up. So this is, this is as close to sisterly love and affection from Agita for her baby brothers as we have seen so far. And you never know. We may get to the point of, which is what the babies are aiming for, of, they're cuddling with her at night. Might take another 2 years, but oh, and you know what? What is it? Agita's birthday is coming up very soon. Is it? I think it's Sunday. She's going to be 12. October the 23rd. It was a few minutes later, and I just got a call from my contractor. So that's why I got up out of bed, and the baby, I think it was Elsie, who was sitting here, got up, Agita is still settled, and both the babies are here. And I think all along, Finn was settled here anyway. When Elsie was there on the bed with his sister, the other one was just nearby. So we've got the whole family here. And I talked to my contractor, and I told him, I said, look, we have another incentive now. Speed up on the house, because I've been told that my babies have to lose some weight, and I said we need, and he's not really a cat person, but he gets it, and he was like going, here at the condo they've got no, there's nothing they can look at out the window, whereas there they'll be running from one window to the other. They'll see a squirrel, they'll see a bird, they'll see a front, from the back, they'll be running up, they'll be running down, there's a basement, there'll be a patio. So, I'm really hoping that will give them some exercise. in the longer run. And I am sweethearts. They brought the case, from there to there. So they're using the case as a toy. Anyway, hello everybody. The maintenance guy is here. I don't think actually works for the building. It works for the contract. So they're just cleaning the air filters. They do this every year. I think spring and fall. So I was just starting to work on Dionysus at the dining table, but I'd rather get this done out of the way, So while all of this is going on, we get Agita, who's there in the room. I just shut the door now, and then the other one, or the two of them, one there, hiding behind one of the babies, and particularly with the vacuum cleaner, they don't like the vacuum cleaner. And then the other one is here. Yes, just wait in there. Just wait. It's almost done. There's no need for everybody to be out. This is going on. So I'm gonna let do this, and then I put the. Now he has to do the one over here. So just get him I think the closest extension is probably the bathroom or. So they're just cleaning up. Yeah, they come every year. It's nice. They come every year and they do it. So, and then after he goes, I will try to do a little bit more work on Dionysus and then go out for something to eat. Anyway, bye for now. I mean, this guy left. It takes a total of like 10 minutes, And one baby. I think this is Finn, the bigger one. So Finn is still there. Agita is, or Lcee has come out of the master bedroom, and Agita is here. And I'm going to try to do a little writing if I can. I took too much and I've gone too far, and I might not make it. I might not make it. I might not make it. This time I might not make it. I might not make it. Okay, I put a little clip. I don't know how long. I think you're allowed 20 seconds or 30 seconds before the copyright shit kicks in. But I did want to play a little clip from that. I hope it doesn't get my next, podcast blocked. This has happened before. But that song was kind of important to me because, I have included it in one of my much earlier podcasts, and I have listened to it on binges while I was actually the Steve. I really thought I might not make it, And in a way, when I was writing today, and I did, I wrote another 7 or 8 pages. It was about my version of the world that the Weeknd writes about, sings about, his own experiences, struggles, whatever, with basically sex and drugs, and some of the same drugs I was using, cocaine. So having written the 7 pages, it's moving, kind of following different directions, and it's kind of free associating. And I did about 7 pages, but some of the details were getting a little, I'm including the more explicit details in there that I don't mention here. So the problem with that is it gets a little hot, and it could lead to cravings, but hopefully I'm in this other altered state where the cravings are, they're a separate thing, because I understand why they were there and where it took me. It's powerful shit, man, So I don't know, but I kind of backed off a bit. I'm like, okay, 7 pages enough, time to go out and eat. So I've left the kids, run of the gun as usual, and I think I'm going to Montana's up at the airport because I can use the points, and they have they have chicken dishes, but at this point I'm not worried about eating chickens given the shit that places I've been. But I'm driving along and I hear that song, and it really triggers, and that's what good writing, good art does, triggers archetypes, it associates my own memories, my own way, and I mean, obviously, he's writing about it from the perspective of a rock star. So it's completely different level awareness and drugs and sex and stuff. Mine is almost as gritty. The Nutty Professor version is just as gritty. But not as not as rock starish. A little lower level. Lots of drugs and that kind of stuff. So when he's talking about, the stuff with the movies on the mattress and might not make it in the fish scale. Still driving along, thinking about that song, and again, in my writing, I share all the details. They said, ever get to the point of publishing it later, then have to disguise and change and all of that stuff. But in here, I'm still a bit circumspect. So, yes. That song brought a lot back on that. Every time I hear it, it brings back a lot of memories. It triggers a lot of things. It's a lot sleazier than Twist's Madeleine, But and it reminded me of a person that he was, partying with a few years ago. He kind of explained the lyrics of the song to me, which I didn't. But and I knew the fish scale obviously was, drugs. So she explained it. It's a kind of cocaine because it kind of glimmers like fish scales, but I knew that, I kind of knew that they weren't talking about fish scales, and I think I mentioned that in one of my very early podcasts. And, the whole thing in terms of the world that I went to, and again, I'm not going to reveal too much of, there are ways that you get there and people post things, and one of the things is, you go to party and play, in the underworld, and I think they call it PNP, and all kinds of abbreviations, which I kind of talk about in my writing. But I don't think I'm giving away any major secrets here because it's a well-known thing, party and play. But I say some of the postings, and I won't mention the sites. They're they're easily found if somebody's looking for them, but I'm not going to mention them. But there is some of the postings that when I was looking for these situations to slither into with substances and people, it was some people actually they emphasize this. They entice you by going party like a rock star, because that's the archetype, that's the ideal for the places that I was going. The people that do that shit best are the rock stars. So people go, hey, come party like a rock star, which I kind of did, a low level kind of sleazy rock star, but I did kind of party like a C-level has-been rock star. That's the level that I partied at. And Weeknd, he parties A-class rock star party, drugs, sex, everything, and the other thing I admire about him is that he doesn't hide it. He writes about his experiences, songs, and he plays them, and he shares it, and he shares his experience, in his own way. Anyway, that's all I have to say for now. I'm the way to Montana's. Bye for now. Hello, everybody. I'm here at Montana's, up at the airport. There used to be a Montana's very close to where I live, but then there was the Kelseys and there was the Milestones. They pulled them all down to build condos. So I had to come out here to the airport, but we had a little ride. And I used to, when I was drinking as a controlled burn for a while, just, before my parents left, I used to go to that one and have a couple of drinks or something to eat, and then walk back if I didn't have the car, or have a limited number of drinks, and then one or two, and then wait, and then see a movie, and then drive back. So that was my Montana experience. And I would get their cocktails, and Fridays they have Wednesdays. I think I used to get the Friday one, but the good thing about that place was it was very close. So I could walk and, or get a ride, which I did at the time with my cousin's kids, kind of cut contact with them. Actually, I was thinking about that because there's a huge family. This whole table from one end to the other was, it's like a big family. So kind of reminded me of how you have no human family, except for my parents in India, and who are, not coming back, and they're very, very old, and they're being looked after, and all of that, And so otherwise, some years ago when my mother's uncle was alive, yes, he used to sometimes bring families to places like this. We'd have a big table. I mostly stopped going to that kind of shit a long time ago. But anyway, so we are the nutty professor and his kids and his long-distance friends, So I suppose it was a semi-productive day. I mean, I did a journal entry, I spent time with the kids, the filter guy came, and I wrote 7 pages more. And I'm calling it Dionysus for now, but I think I used the term the reluctant mystic the other day in a podcast, and it's come up in the writing, and I am talking about ecstasy, and there's different kinds of ecstasy. There's mystic ecstasy, and there's a substance. It's called ecstasy. Now it's called it's actually MDMA. It's also called Molly, which may or may not have played a role in my latest pictures. So ecstasy is kind of coming up, and maybe, and I'm not saying this for sure, but my friends are going, it's important that you write about the state that you're in right now to kind of figure out, is it sustainable? Where are you? Is it, how long lasting is this thing going to be? And yeah, I mean, it seems to be, I'm not saying by any means, and I said this in my writing too, I'm not claiming that I've become enlightened under, in my case it wasn't in a tree, under a tree, it was in a very, sleazy circumstances, doing substances, in sleazy motels. So I'm not claiming by any means that I've achieved some kind of higher, lower, whatever state, a mystical state, or quote nirvana, quote. I hate people who talk about that kind of shit. Or even the whole, my first analyst had said it's kind of like being born again. And she said, you're like which you know how I feel about religion. So even using that term just really pissed me off. But it was like, she goes, oh, you're like a little, because I was so anti anything that isn't, the 5 senses. And then when the shit started happening, and the connections, and the, synchronicities, and the, all of that stuff, and the sort of mystical stuff was happening, and getting into Jung and Campbell, and all of that stuff, she was like going, oh, you're like a chicken, or a chick that's just been hatched from an egg, and you're looking around, and you're like, she was not the right analyst, and no wonder I told her to fuck off after a few sessions. But I did start seeing things differently, and it kind of opened some doors. But that whole thing in terms of, what do you call that? And I will never, ever, ever use the term born again or, enlightenment or shit like that. It's just, it triggered another, different, not even a higher or a lower, but a different way of seeing things, of perceiving things. The one that some mystics, did, strive for. They wanted to get there purposely, and you can get there without substances. You can get there in other ways. You can get there by starving yourself. That's what the ascetics used to do back in the Buddha's time. You could get there by wandering around naked in the wilderness, starving yourself. You can get to that kind of point. So whatever point I got to, I didn't get to it that way. I get to it in another way, And whether I'm at that point or not, I don't know. I'm like, that's what it's just a slightly different way of perceiving and thinking, and in this state, the other stuff shouldn't be necessary because I'm already in that state. Now, that's not to say that there aren't going to be cravings, particularly when I'm writing about it, and it's not to say that it might not come back. So anyway, some of the stuff I'm exploring and writing about. And you know how much I hate sports. I think there's some kind of sport thing. Oh no, it's a birthday thing. Anyway, enough. Good thing I don't have to actually deal with humans. I can just sit here in my booth and observe them. Bye for now. Trying the chicken fajitas. Since I'm eating chicken, might as well, And I got some guacamole, an extra $2, but such as splurge. And I'm using some points anyway. And sizzling away, and the things are under there. Okay, I'll let you know it is supposed to be the hot sauce. Okay, I ate and I ate. And I put, Tabasco and I put, hot sauces and there's still leftovers. She bought me a very nice kind of a split container. The chicken and guacamole on one side and the, salady stuff on the other side. And there's one thing he left. And I'm going to keep that too. I'm going to have it like a little late night snack, like a roti, rather than as a wrap. Anyway, it's good. I enjoyed it. Okay. Now I'm just going to head home. I don't even really need to stock groceries. If I pass a grocery store, I might get some bread or something for tomorrow. Then I don't have to go out to eat until later. I can do my writing and then go out to eat later. Anyway, bye for now. I'll finish this and then I head back to the kids. Hello everybody, I just got back a couple of minutes ago, put away the shopping. I got some croissants and stuff like that on the way back. And I got a muffin and a coffee, which I had while driving back. And everybody's here, everybody's fine. All years accounted for, of course, So I'm just going to reply to a friend of mine, email, my out-of-town friend. And I'm just going to reply to her. She sent a very nice email about a house that ad that I sent from Chatham. And, it's still too early really to be looking, because if I see something I like, I can't buy it because I have to finish my house first and sell it. So, and the house is really nice, the one there, and it's come down in price. But I'll just keep an eye on it. If it's gone, I'll get something else. First we have to finish, the current house, and I got to work on the stuff that I'm writing, and being in the space, and making sure I don't go back to the other space, and all of that stuff. So that's kind of the priorities. But if this particular house is still available, fine. If not, we'll see what else is there when my house finally sells. Anyway, reply to my friend, relax with the kids, make a journal entry, watch some TV, watch some Netflix, and bed. And then tomorrow I get breakfast, I get croissants, and then I can do some writing and go out to eat in the evening again. So we've got a routine going here. Anyway, bye for now. From the four of us. Bye for now. Good morning, everybody. It's about 8:30 in the morning, and we've got both the babies sleeping very nicely there in the bed, and we've got Agita sleeping very nicely there. Now, last night, after I got back, I fed the kids, but a reduced portion of wet food, and I watched some Netflix. I watched Peripheral, based on the novel by William Gibson, which I did read a few years ago. It's science fiction, and the series was not too bad. So I'm watching it, and there were thoughts. There were thoughts / cravings, not cravings as such, but kind of powerful thoughts about details of the world that I had been making excursions to, and not exactly pull, but powerful thoughts. And I guess that's not unexpected, because I have been writing about that stuff in some detail, and I even talked about it again, holding back some details, but I did talk about it in footage, the whole thing about talking about might not, and stuff like that, So I guess it's not to be, it's not unexpected that there's going to be thoughts, if not actual pull as such. However, this is the kind of test of this new perspective. In this framework, I don't think that the thoughts are going to translate into pull as they did before, At least I hope not, and I don't think so. I mean, so far, it's okay, And I had the thoughts, but I just, I experienced them. I did think of details. I thought a bit, that whole, underworld. But it wasn't like I really want to go back right now. Let me find out where what's available and what I can do and where I can go and all that. It wasn't that. And then I went to bed, and Agita settled very nicely there on that white thing. And one of the babies came and settled here, less than 2 feet from Agita, and she was fine for maybe half an hour, 45 minutes. And I petted the baby, and then, she was there, and, and he tried to get a little closer, and she gave a little growl, but she remained very nicely settled. And I think one of the other baby was in the hall on one of the perches. And then a bit later, Agita got up and she moved to the hall. And the other baby came here, and they both cuddled with me very, very nicely, and I petted both of them. And then, we went to bed, and, we went to sleep. Babies were here next to me all night, and then sometime in the morning, Agita came, and the babies got up, and I got up, and, they wanted treats, but I'm like going, look, you're not supposed to have treats at this point. So I just petted them. I talked to them, I petted them, and then I go back into bed. And Agita settled there, and the baby settled here. Now, I used to call this concept appreciation of sober family time. But I think in this framework, we're just going to call it appreciation of family time. This is like, I'm not going to emphasize the sobriety. I mean, it's nice that the sobriety is there. It's part of this new world, this new perspective, this new approach. I don't really need to go back to the other world. I might think of it from time to time, but this is family time, and I'm looking for a house and that will suit the family. And I was very impressed that my out-of-province friend, I sent her an ad for one of the houses that I'm considering out there, and her first response and was like going, "Oh, they're going to love it. They'll be very happy in this house. I think this is a good house for the kids." I mean, and that's the whole thing. I mean, family first. No, and I think my two cat rescuer friends. I mean, when I send them the pictures of the houses, their first thought is, how will the house suit the kids? And that's, so to me, that's the important thing. The important thing is this is my family. I want to spend time with my family. I want to be with my family. And yes, I mean, the sobriety is part of it because it improves the quality of the family time. I'm not going off on binges. It's not as dangerous. It's just like, will I come back? I might not come back. The song, all of that stuff. So it's just family time, and it's great. And yes, the other world, it will pull from time to time, or it will appear in my thoughts. But I'm just not, for now, I'm just going to focus on the shift. So anyway, I'm just going to get up, have some breakfast, give the kids wet food, but smaller portions, and try to do some writing. So anyway, from the four of us, bye for now. It's now well over an hour later, and everybody's still settled very nicely in the same positions. And I've just been lying here looking at stuff on my phone, and just appreciating family time. So rather than call it sober family time and focus on the sober part, just going to focus on family time, and just keep going. It's a couple of hours later, and just been spending time with the kids. I was going to make my journal entry right out of the dream, and events of last night, and how there was some pull last night, and then I was going to get back to the writing. There's the second baby. So one baby here, and Agita is wandering a bit this way. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was going to get back, get my dream there. I was going to write it out, do my morning entry, take a little break, get back to the Dionysus material. The pull ramped up, I felt a bit of it last night. I think I mentioned it in footage. I did feel a bit last night, and then it kind of ramped up a bit today. So in spite of everything, the place that I went to, coming back supposedly with shift in awareness, or shift in perspective, or shift in energy level, or whatever you want to call it, the pull is still there. Now it's probably to be expected because it was not going to go away like that, because that is such a powerful connection to it, and there's such a history of it with me, and it's really, there's many levels to it. So in spite of seeing everything differently, living in the world differently, supposedly, I mean, it's not an overnight thing, so felt a very strong pull, but it was okay. I'm not going to give into it. I'm still not going to count the days. It's still a different way of approaching it, and this is where I have to make a bit of a decision, because I have been writing some of the details. that I hold back in these things. And I've realized all along that there's a danger in that, because if you're writing the details, it may, trigger cravings, So, but I think in the short run, yes, it's been a bit. It's almost 2 weeks now. It's about 12 days. I wasn't counting, but let's say it's about 12 days. But there, in the short run, it may increase, or there may be, pulls at time, because I am writing about details. But I tried to illustrate that yesterday, that the triggers can be anywhere, anytime. They're everywhere. Driving along, I hear a song. So, and you can't I don't listen to music here anyway, but I'm not going to stop listening to the car radio in case that there's a song, or and everywhere I drive, there's like a bank machine that I've used on a binge, or there's a motel that I've been to, or whatever. So the triggers are going to be everywhere. So there's nothing much I can do about that. I think at this point, I need to keep writing. I mean, in the longer run, I think I need to, deal with the details, get them down, go a little deeper into what's the shift, and it's a shift in process. It's not an overnight shift. What the shift is, what happened, what particularly happened on that last binge. I think it's better to push ahead with it, and just kind of be prepared for pulls in the evening or the next day. But other than that, I mean, it was. Hello, everybody. We got Agita there, the bed. We got the 2 babies here in the living room, and it's 2 or 3 hours since the footage I taped. I haven't started the journal entry or got back to the writing, but just to record. Pulls are pretty strong again. Now, it was a little, optimistic to think that they would completely. I was kind of hoping that, given the shift and given how far I went into the shadow last time, and now a different perspective, and seeing it rather than as a battle, seeing it as this and seeing it as that, and kind of a shift in perspective. and the pulls have been absolutely minimal for the last 10 days or so. I was kind of hoping they'd stay minimal, but. Of course, they're not, So I did feel some pulls last night, and I felt some fairly strong, the ramping up, earlier today. But that's okay. I mean, that's to be expected. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and a little bit of a decision. I have been, and I realize also, I have been writing some of the details in Dionysus, and I've even been talking about a bit more stuff in podcasts than I usually do, such as yesterday. I pointed out and that was also, I pointed out, the song Might Not, and the, associations with it, and, my own, experiences and all of that stuff. But, those triggers are there all the time. My triggers are there the triggers, there are, cues, everywhere. So I did kind of show that. However, I think between not writing, not talking a little bit at least about some of these things, is probably going to be worse than becoming as aware as possible of the various triggers and dealing with, in writing out some of the grittier details that I've been holding back from podcasts, but writing them out in Dionysus, So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep writing, and just prepare myself that there could be pulls. There's going to be a little bit of a price in the shorter run. But hello, everybody. It's me, the Nutty Professor. And the building's over that way, so I cross the bridge and I walk this way a bit. And I'm sitting on the bench. This is not my usual bench. It's a little bit further than my usual bench. And there's a little humans out, but I guess it's because it's a Sunday. So it's like the productive members of society, humans. This is their day off, and they go, oh, we'll just go all congregate by the lake and walk around, So a whole bunch of humans, but it's okay. I'm just sitting here on the bench, and I don't have to talk to them. Actually, I did talk to a human. my neighbor, a couple, older couple, sort of halfway, I think, in between my age and my parents' age. And they've lived on our floor for some time, and they're friends of my parents. And I've talked to them from time to time, used to go for dinner occasionally before the pandemic. And the husband is a psychiatrist, and, but he's, medical model, but I actually did a seminar for one of his, for addiction at one of his workplaces many years ago, but he's retired now. So but we talk occasionally. But he's also very literary, so he's even published a novel. So we talk occasionally. So they're nice people. They live on the same floor, and I talk to them. And I didn't, they know about my struggles with addiction. They saw the early podcasts, the first 5 or 6, and in between I might have sent 1 or 2. But the latest ones, the struggles and the grittier things I haven't shared. They're out there. Anybody who wants to see them, they can see them. But I'm not sending them. But anyway, it was nice to talk to her. I mean, just talk to her in the elevator. So I had the polls earlier, as I mentioned, a little bit of poll. Wrote it out. Worked on a journal entry, but not on, the Dionysus material. And then I'm like going maybe a little walk, a little fresh air. So then, just as I'm leaving, I get an email from my friend out of province, the cat rescuer. And one of her semi-feral cats, or, socialized but semi-feral, there's some term for them, lives in the cat room, not actually inside the house, but basically, and doesn't go off the property. They've got acres. However, he had been, he had stayed on the property for many years, for 7-8 years, and then last year, about the same time that I started my, relapse, excursions, whatever, that very same weekend, he went off. He disappeared for 2-3 days, and we don't know where he went. If he went killing chickens, he found a cat in a field somewhere, or what he was up to. But he disappeared for 2-3 days, and he came back. He was very hungry, and then I was clear for the next 4 or 5 weeks. I made it until, I think, January, and this happened last, October, early October. I made it till January. He went the very next week. Another excursion, and then another excursion, and he kept coming back, hungry but safe, and and then he stayed. Then he was, he was better at, at reforming than I was, and he stayed on the property. No more excursions, Possibly because it became very cold in winter and it's like minus 40 degrees or whatever. So the winter kept him in, and he stayed in the cat room. He did cat room with the other semi-ferals. And then he got very sick, apparently. I think 2-3 months ago. He got very sick, maybe more. It was a virus, and he got, he got very sick. She, took him to the vet, major surgeries. He just barely survived, but he survived, And then he's been recovering. However, he's sick again. So she asked me to send some positive energy towards, and I use not his real name. I call him Flame, and she said, send, Flame some positive energy. So look, I think West is that way. So this is positive energy going towards Flame, not his real name. But you know who you are. Flame, my counterpart, you survived all those excursions, and, you survived a serious illness, so you got to celebrate this one too. You can do it, you're my counterpart, so, positive energy towards Flame, going that way, west, so positive energy towards Flame, and she found another kitten, another rescue kitten is another one of those, may not survive. I think she's, I'll have to read the details again. I just read the email quickly when I was leaving. But it's very young. They can't tell the sex yet. They don't know if it's a male or female. But and they're, treating her, I think, the vet. And the last time she found a very small kitten, she fed him by hand. So this one, I'm sure she's, and they're, thinking of names. Now I will mention this because I don't think anyone's going to, and this is not 100% a name yet, but she's thinking of calling the kitten Mango because it's orange. And I kind of had a connection with a mango too, because there was a cat that I was driving. Now this is a few years ago, and I changed his name. I called him Papaya because he had been caught killing chickens somewhere else, and he had been apprehended, and he was brought here to the shelter to be rehabilitated, and he was. He took to being an indoor cat very much better than I have, So when I talked about him, I called him Papaya, but his real name was Mango. But I'm using his name at the time because that was a temporary name. Now he's named something else, and I've heard from my friend at the shelter. She's had updates, and he is completely reformed. He's 100% indoor cat, and he's got a new name. So it's like he's in witness protection. He's getting a new name. His chicken killing past is well behind him, and I'm pretty sure he's not going to watch my podcasts. Only 20 people do, and I'm pretty sure that, Papaya Mango doesn't. So I'm going to encourage my friend to name this one the kitten Mango, because, Mango is a success story. If you can't, being rehabilitated and finding a forever home and being very much loved and, safe and having a new identity, it's a success story. You know what? I'm talking too much. Anyway, the thing is, I'm feeling better now. I'll talk to the neighbor, got the news from my friend. Some of the news a little bit, the thing, I'm a little worried about, Flame. I'm a little worried about Flame, but I'm sending positive. I think he's approximately the same age as I am in cat years. So I think he's like 10, 11, something like that. So positive energy towards Flame, and good luck to the new Mango. I hope he or she makes it, and or maybe Mango may not be named Mango. So as I've said before, I really admire my cat rescuer friends. And I was volunteering for the shelter for a while, and it was good. But then the people at the shelter started annoying me, the fosters and stuff like that. When the stuff started opening up after the pandemic, that's when I got a little bit, during the pandemic, bye for now. I'm feeling a little better, I'm going to go back and try to do some writing. I'm not going to get little things like, increased pulls prevent me from doing something that I think will be useful in the long run. I do need to explore some of these issues in more depth than I do here, I can change the names and all that other stuff, like, Papaya Mango, whatever. I can do all of that. So anyway, I got to go back up and do some writing, and then I'll go out to eat. Anyway, bye for now. Now, there's one baby. There's the other baby. Camouflaged, but there. And there's Agita. Now, I'm going to edit and post this podcast, so I'm going to release two at the same time. There's going to be this one, and then there's going to be another one released at the same time, which is going to be actual today's events. And that will be, Agita's birthday and my going out to eat, and, Agita the baby's at home and the usual stuff. So that's good. That today's is all going to be about Agita's birthday, That's a separate podcast. This one is going to be the events leading up to yesterday and the day before, last 2-3 days, So, and I'm really doing these at this point just for myself. If anyone stumbles onto them, fine. And, I think my out-of-province friend is the only one who watches each and every single one, whether I send her the link or not. I'm sending her the link, but I'm not sending the link to anyone else. So, this is sort of a private record, but, if anybody wants to see what I'm doing, that's fine. And as I said in the other conclusion to the other podcast, which I just taped, it is, even though I'm not counting, it is pretty much 2 weeks today, even the 2 weeks clear, even though it's a slightly different system this time, but it is, just as a signpost. So I guess the system, the shift is sort of working, because it is 2 weeks clear, and the pulls have been minimal, except for yesterday. There were pulls yesterday, but there was a sort of a way out of the pulls, that was sort of different. It was, it was a sort of a way out of the pulls thanks to the shift, thanks to looking at things differently and seeing synchronicities and taking that as a way out of the pulls, So that's sort of, I suppose it's a, it's going, it's day by day. So even though I'm not counting, it is 2 weeks, I'm not going to put that into the title. Anyway, the usual closing, and I've pretty much used the same closing for the other podcast, So from the four of us, so from one baby and two baby and Agita. And from myself, the nittiest professor is sort of nutty, crazy professor. Bye for now. See you next podcast.